What's your karaoke song?
What do you think it is?
Well, I read somewhere that it was Sophie Ellis-Bextor, Murder on the Dance Floor, which just filled me with so much joy, but you don't remember saying that.
I think it was probably because when Saltburn was out, everyone was singing that, so I probably said it off the top of my head. The reality is...
Go on.
It's Love in an Elevator by Aerosmith.
Give us a little blast of it there.
Love in an elevator, living it up while I'm going down.
Oh, my, we can't afford to use... Cut him off.
Virgin Radio.
There was The Killers. I'm Angela Scanlon, joined by our next guest, who is an actor turned author. He's the go-to guy if you're looking for a handsome leading man or a hairy dwarf king. His thriller, The Cut, will be released exclusively on Audible from next Thursday, the 22nd of August, and he might just star in it too. So let's add a smidge of Richard Armitage!
Hey, I've played a few Killers. Did you like that? Yeah. Just looking at your playlist here.
He was singing Taylor Swift a second ago. Don't be fooled
don't ask.
by the cool. Sorry, can we talk about your eyeballs first? Is
What's
that
wrong
a thing?
with
Richard Armitage, guys, has got the most exceptional pair of peepers I've seen in a very long time. I opened by saying, "Are those your real eyes?"
I thought she was saying I've got a hangover.
No, they're
Just hadn't noticed it.
fantastically
Thank
piercing,
you.
almost killer eyes, I would
Bless
say.
you. Wow.
Let's talk about The Cut. Mm-hmm. Set it up for me.
So it's a commission from Audible.
Yes.
It's an audio-only construction. It's an Audible original. It's a story that came from the seed of a real conversation I had with somebody in a cemetery who came up to me and said, I'm really sorry for what we did to you as kids, but you've done really well for yourself. And I walked away thinking, I don't know who that was, but it spurned the idea for a story. So I wrote a tale about a group of teenagers in 1993 at their graduation. One of them tragically gets killed. One of her school friends goes to prison. And in the present day, a film crew descends on that same village to make a found footage horror film, but it's not what it seems.
Juicy. It's based on your own childhood?
A little bit, yeah.
Or
Anecdotes and
of that.
ideas and
Okay.
sort of memories from... So yeah, The Village is a fictional version of where I grew up.
Okay. So did you have to ring around a few locals and family members and go, FYI, I'm thinking of slipping this in? You know, we'll change the name and all, but are you okay with this being in there? You just
No.
went for it, didn't you?
No, just changed all the names, changed all the places.
Okay.
But yeah, no,
Based on gets
based
you
on.
away.
Yeah. I mean, buried and hidden, but I went around the village and took lots of pictures. But yeah, the cut means a shortcut, the cut of a movie, and a cut of a wound. So it's three little things.
Multi-layered.
Yeah, multi-layered.
The Audible only thing, does that inform how you approach the creating of this?
Yeah, completely. So I read everything aloud. Sometimes I even sit down in my home recording booth and speak sections aloud because it's a bit like composing music. It's more important what it sounds like than what it looks like on the page.
Okay.
So and also you remove things like the description of somebody's accent because you're going to hear that accent, so you don't necessarily have to say it. So I love it. I mean, I started in music. I was a musician when I was a kid. So to me, it's like rhythm and sound.
And it's kind of amazing that, you know, the boom in audio now, and I don't know whether this, you know, sits with you, but that idea of like the voice and the resonance and what a listener, a consumer of an audio book gets from the voice and the intention and the kind of, you know, intangible things that your voice will deliver to their ears.
Yeah, and it's very intimate. I've always felt like whenever I sit down to read for Audible or any publisher, I always sit with the mic and think this is just me and the listener. They may be alone in a room with headphones like this. They might be driving their car, but I'm just going to talk to them as if I'm telling this story off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it can be immersive as well. So more and more audiobooks are using kind of little sound effects. There's multi-voice audio productions now that are getting kind of deeper and sort of surround sound. So it's great. I love it.
Also, you mentioned props in it, which I was like, I think of, you know, the Archers, and you hear
Foley.
the like making of, you know.
Oh, I would do that if they let me. I mean, I'd be slamming doors and blowing my nose and opening envelopes.
Well, you're a method, aren't you? You got to bring that to it.
I did bring in a clapperboard because there's sections of the story where the film crew is making making the film, and I bought in my own clapperboard and started doing the cuts. And the guys at Audible were like, I don't think you need to do that. But they've left it in.
I love that, like Pavlov's dog. Clapperboard goes away.
It's exactly that, yeah.
Did you take a 90s clacked out VW Golf? I mean, I don't know where you would take it from. A prop that you wanted to steal, but like, was that in the studio with you?
That was something that we shot a TV commercial.
Okay, because you do, right? These things are like mega. They're audio only, but there's obviously visual elements.
Yeah,
to
so
the
they've
promotion.
created an AV commercial for the marketing. In the story, it's my old blue Ford Fiesta, but for the campaign, they got
Pimped it up a bit.
I got a nicer, slightly a red VW. But we got to the shoot, and I looked at it and went, "This is perfect." And then I was like, "Can I have it?" And they went, "No, it won't start." They had to bring it in on a low loader because it was no engine in there.
Okay, so your childhood was 80s, but this is set in the 90s, which you very much enjoyed.
I loved
delving into.
Yeah.
90s was a good old time.
Well, because at this graduation, all of the kids in the school, and this is based on a true story, have to get up and do like a lip sync to, like, they have to perform a number.
Okay.
So somebody's doing a number from like a dance to Star Wars, and there's a couple doing a lip sync to Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf.
So how do you lip sync an audio? But you do just play the original track?
I'm kind of just describing it, yeah, because you can't use the music; it's far too expensive. Someone's doing Michael Jackson. Trust me, we tried to even get the lyric for Michael Jackson.
Not happening. You can't even use the lyric.
Not possible. No.
Well, I would love to hear you singing "Bad Out of Hell." What's your karaoke song?
What do you think it is?
Well, I read somewhere that it was Sophie Ellis-Bextor, "Murder on the Dance Floor," which just filled me with so much joy. But you don't remember saying that.
I think it was probably because when Saltburn was out, everyone was singing that. So I'll probably said it off the top of my head. The reality is,
Go on.
It's "Love in an Elevator" by Aerosmith.
Give us a little blast of it there.
Love in an elevator, living it up while I'm going down.
Oh my! We can't afford to use. Cut him off. That's very good.
Are you allowed to do that? No.
It's done. Raspy, very gravelly. Sounds like you've been on the sauce.
Yeah.
Which is not true.
No.
Let's talk about thriller as a kind of genre and how. I mean, it feels like, again, in the audio space with podcasts and books, but just generally, I mean, it feels like things are quite dark anyway in real life. You know, if you want to consume some of this in the news, whatever, what do you think is people's obsession with this? Because, you know, it's always been there, but it does feel like there's a resurge of a kind of insatiable appetite.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's why I've returned to do 4 Harlan Coben thrillers for Netflix, because what he's doing in his drama, in his books and the adaptations, is he's got his finger on the pulse of something kind of very current. I always say Harlan's signature is this fingerprints that we leave behind in terms of our technology that we're using. And actually, I've started working on the treatment for a 3rd story, which is definitely going to tap into those deep-rooted fears we have about AI and our social media presence of who we say we are online and who we are in reality. So I think those are the things that we're now kind of interested in terms of thriller. So things like Black Mirror really tapped into that.
Stop.
Right.
Yeah.
The look on your face now, you've gone pale.
Well, I think it's because of that, isn't it? You're like, this is not, this feels kind of a step away. I mean, I remember watching as a kid The Jetsons and thinking, wow.
That's the future.
This is the future. And like so many elements of that are now. And the speed with which, you know, AI and tech and everything is progressing. Does it frighten you?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the reasons why in my first book, Geneva, I wrote about a neural implant, which was sort of loosely based on something Elon Musk was chewing over. It's now a reality. Someone's actually had that. It's tested on them. There's a human trial of a neural implant, and I just think, is that where we're going?
Which means what?
I don't really know. I think it's kind of as close to having a chip maybe in your wrist, where
like an Apple AirTag, but under the skin
instead of your phone. I mean, it's those kind of things. I think we're a hair's breadth away from having that kind of body modification. So that scares me.
Oh my God, joy to the world, hey? I do think it's quite terrifying, maybe, the openness. Like, I feel like we're the guinea pigs for the social media generation, you know, because there's the generation below us. Maybe we're in the middle where you had a period where you didn't have it and then a period where you're immersed in it.
Yeah.
But we kind of just don't really know. We've like, you know, I just share my password willy-nilly. I give information. I kind of, you know, I'm quite unguarded about it. And you do wonder about like identity theft, which I feel like is an area to mine as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm guessing you didn't grow up with... I think you might be a bit younger than me. You don't know anything other than phones, right?
Well, I had a Motorola, not to age
did?
myself too much, but I had a Motorola Flicky Flick before 3210 Snake.
Okay. And also, you're from the Republic of Ireland, so...
What's your problem with that?
A slightly more organic upbringing, I would imagine.
Free range, as my dad likes to describe it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, because half of my life was spent without technology, and I'm so happy for that because I know how to occupy myself without any electronics.
Yes, yeah. It's interesting because I
saw the look on your face and I was like, don't go there.
We're not going
Don't
there.
Go there.
I'm glad you know how to occupy yourself. My daughter says, I'm bored. If she, you know, the usual, she'll hear it from somewhere and it became a thing.
Yeah.
And I said to her, amazing. She was like, what? That was not the response I was looking for or hoping for. I wanted to be entertained. And I have a really hard line on it. I'm like, boredom is where all the magic happens. I said, do you think Taylor Swift wrote a song when she was sitting watching iCarly? No, it didn't happen.
She
was bored off her tree. She was sent out into a field or a recording studio, depending on your parents' capabilities. And, you know, the boredom is what creates, or space, let's call it space.
Yeah.
You know, creation comes from a bit of silence and a bit of...
Totally. It's where you let the creativity in. Did your daughter enjoy Taylor Swift?
Oh my God, Richard!
Sorry.
I thought we were going to be friends. He's referring to the fact that I have been begging and trying to get tickets for Taylor Swift for my daughter, and I went alone yesterday.
I'm sure you can
for
swing
work, and she heard me announce it on the radio and was.
I'll give her a call.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
Don't bother.
I will
You've done enough. You have done enough. Quickly before I let you go, where is do you have like a happy place to create? You know, you talk about that, the creation coming out of space. Is there somewhere you go that you kind of, you know, are you one who goes off on a little retreat, or, you know, is it a cabin at the end of the garden?
No, actually. And I've had to adapt to the fact that I often write on a night flight from New York to London, or in a trailer when I'm waiting to film something. So I'm writing everywhere. But that's okay.
That's great, no?
Yeah, because you do spend a lot of time waiting around on a film set. You can be called at 9 o'clock and not work till 7. So
that's what they say. You're paid for waiting,
exactly.
Aren't you? Well, you're making money while you're waiting.
Exactly.
I like it. The audiobook, The Cut, is released exclusively on Audible on Thursday, the 22nd of August. Thank you so much. No.
It is.
A Leo.
A Leo.
No less. Okay, that's got to be a good omen.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard Armitage.
Thank you.
This is Kenny Loggins. I could see you doing this, a bit of damage on a karaoke machine.
Kenny Loggins.
Danger zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Danger zone.
I knew it. I just...
Virgin Radio.